So when me and Drew talked about this, why, I said, when you met your wife, man, did you know she was the one? He was like, yeah, everything was just wow, popped out to you. That's everything that I liked, she was.
Yeah, we got
Okay,
married 3 months later.
okay, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah, it was
Listen, black
great.
women don't get mad. You lose all. Look, I only been with black. I love my wife, black. I love her, but that's my choice. And I like chocolate ice cream. Well, that's just. But look, I do not look at Drew no different. That's my brother.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And we look at each other that way. If just like this exchange we have here on the show, imagine if we can all sit down and have that particular exchange, how much better we would be, how much healthier America would be. Because all this division is doing is causing stress. And stress is the number one killer. Stress is the number one producer of disease. So when you choose love, you're choosing peace, right? I'm choosing
Mhm.
peace in my house, in my home, in my community. I'm not falling for no foolishness.
Right.
I'm not allowing anything to come and bring division because someone has an agenda. If we can't stand collectively together, then we got a problem
Right.
and respect one another. So let me ask you this, and we go keep moving.
Yeah.
What was the hardest thing? And we go move on. The hardest thing that you have dealt with because you're in an interracial marriage. And then this is important. This is important to the conversation. So you want
Yeah. I've got actually, I had Rebecca's father did not approve and had made it known that he wanted an all white family and he took issue with that.
right,
Um, and he literally cut her off completely. Um, and I don't know if I would say that was necessarily hard, but it was a tough situation to work with,
yeah,
because he tried to throw a lot of obstacles at us that were not cool, that I had to deal with, but it was worth it. So I was willing to fight. That's how my relationship is legit, because I was willing to fight
fight for
for
it.
my wife,
Right,
right? I
right,
was willing to fight for Rebecca. When I signed up for this, I was willing to fight for her at all costs. If I had to fight her dad, if I had to fight the man down the street or whoever, I was willing to be prepared to do so. So that didn't bother me. The second thing was, this is a situation I've only talked to with my best friend and with Rebecca. But years ago, we had gone to Disneyland, and there was a black guy there, and we had gone on Star Tours. And when we got off Star Tours, I got pushed from behind
mm-hmm.
really hard, and it was a black guy that I had seen in the line earlier, and he had pushed me. He didn't touch Rebecca, but he pushed me, and I went into a corner, and I was like, "What the heck?" And so I'm standing there, and I'm like, "What was that all about?" And I'm looking, I was like, "I don't even know that guy." And then we went on something else he was on, and he had done it again.
Right,
So I'm thinking, I'm gonna have to fight this guy. Like this, I'm not having this. Rebecca talked me out of it. I wish she hadn't,
right.
but she was thinking, okay, they put you in jail, whole situation we don't want to deal with, just let it go. And I was thinking, I'm stomping this guy out. Like
Right.
that's just what it is.
Yeah.
Because you're not gonna push me twice. But I think what was going on with that guy. Now here's the thing: the guy had a wife and the guy had a son.
With
Okay,
they were with
yeah,
it.
yeah, they were there. So and it was a very confusing moment for me, because I'm like, who at Disneyland goes out of their way to do something like that? But what I realized was, it was the hatred in this man. Why
Right.
would he run and follow us, you know, as we're leaving to catch up to us to physically knock me into a wall or a corner or whatever.
Yeah.
Why would he do that? Right?
Yeah.
And, you know, my experience is there are messed up people and they're good people that do irrational things, and who knows what was going through his mind. But
Oh,
I mean, on the outside, I mean, obviously he took issue with me for some reason. He's never met me, I've never seen him, but he took issue, and that's obviously what it was. A third time we had gone to Disneyland, I had to step out of the Indiana Jones ride line because Rebecca was really, really thirsty. So I had to jump out of this huge 4-hour line and run clear across the park to get water because it took me a while to find it.
right.
And I came back and Rebecca had a real sad look on her face. And I said, "What happened?" And she's like, "There's these guys that are playing a game where they would run back and run forward and knock into Rebecca."
What?
They were Caucasian guys.
Yeah.
They're little goofy 16, 18-year-old looking kids. Right. And so I'm standing there and she's explaining to me what's happened. And these guys are right here. And I hear them counting 1, 2, 3. And they ran. And I turned around and looked face to face. And I told Rebecca, I said, "Look, that last time you told me to let that slide about that situation,"
Right.
I said, "I listened. But this time, I'm not listening."
Yeah.
I
Right.
said, "Different day."
Right there.
So I put my back and then I turned around and faced them as the guy was coming. And I looked at him right in the face. And immediately he froze. He turned back around. I didn't hear nothing out of those guys.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, it said you saw you were serious.
Yeah, because like how are you gonna be plowing to my wife that's 120 pounds, you know, standing there when I'm not here?
So you think
Like,
you believe? Well, all of that had to do possibly was fueled by the interracial situation. You believe
yeah,
both?
you
Both.
know, it was very disrespectful, especially that first situation. The other one, I just think the kids are being a little goofy, you know,
Right.
and then they thought, well, whatever, we're still going to try this, and then I had to correct that. So that was just a disrespect thing. But that guy and Rebecca's father, yeah, they took issue. They really did. I had to sit down with him across from him at a table with his elders from church, but I ran the show. Okay, because once I got in there, I wanted to see how they were handling things.
Yeah.
And what I mean is, like, automatically what I wanted to see was where they stood just on the principle in itself.
Yes.
So they were automatically already siding with him. So automatically I knew how to approach the situation, which was, I told them, I said, "Listen, I just got off a red-eye flight to come here, okay, to meet with you guys. So you're not going to waste my time.
Right.
Okay. Yes, you've known this man this many years, but I guarantee you've never been to his home. I guarantee you outside of church, you've never hung out with him, correct?" "Yeah, that's right." "Well, then you don't really know him.
Yeah.
What I have here is a phone. And on this phone, I have a thing called a voicemail. And on this voicemail, I have 20 voicemails, 20 from him saying all sorts of crazy things."
What?
Okay. Yeah. I had them all saved.
Yeah.
And I said, "So I'm going to play you some messages. How about that? We're going to play," her dad's name is Tim. I was like, "We're going to play Tim's greatest hits. How about that?" Here we go. I played that. I put it, he was like, "Oh, okay. Oh, wait. No, wait, listen.
Right.
Oh, okay. So that's what he said." And he left this one for my mom. "Oh, okay. Let's do this." So he has harassed me. He's harassed my mother left and right, like he has nothing else better to do in his life. And then my mom blocked his number. He borrowed somebody else's number. I got another phone.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
What?
I'm dead serious. And in one day, he would call sometimes 50 times. He just, "Not gonna marry my daughter. You're not gonna marry my daughter. Leave me a nasty voicemail. Leave me a voicemail." And he back and forth.
Call your mother though?
Yeah.
So your mother has had a conversation with him.
Yeah, and she said that man's crazy. So it's just like I had to deal with that. And so I showed them who exactly he was.
Yeah.
And I said,
Yeah.
listen, guys, I've already, at that point, I had already married her. So I was like, I'm already married to her. What the heck do you want?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? And I said, gentlemen, I can't even call you guys that. People, because that's giving you too high of a respect for making me sit here, listen to this. I said, did you ask him about his other daughter? They said, well, what about? I said, there's one that's older, actually, two older than she is. One came from a non marriage,
Oh,
right? So
right.
he had an affair with the lady, got her pregnant.
Okay.
Okay. She's married to an Asian man. Did you ask him about that? Oh, he didn't tell you about that one. Then there's the oldest daughter, Rebecca's sister. You know, they're both her sister technically, but the sister she grew up with. She married a black guy.
Mm-hmm.
They've been married for years. You know, my nephew just graduated high
So he
school.
had a problem with that one too?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He completely cut her off. My brother in law almost knocked him out, actually.
Well, man, I don't want to. I know it's your father-in-law, bro, but I have experienced people like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
No, and I don't care because he's a piece of work.
yeah,
He's a piece of work because he has three grandsons he doesn't even acknowledge and he wants nothing to do with.
you know,
So
yeah. Some people are incorrigible, though, brother. You know that. As far as they're beyond change.
yeah, and he's one of those guys.
Yeah,
He's one of those guys. He's a scumbag all the way down, even outside of me and Rebecca. You know, just how he's ran his family and how he's handled things. He's a scumbag all the way down.
right.
He's done some horrific things. He's handled himself very, very unprofessionally. Very, very
That's why
unprofessionally.
this is what I mean about love, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because even in a situation like that, I didn't hear much love at all. Because me and you have
No,
talked
there's no love out of
we
him.
talked behind the scenes about it a little deeper, but without getting too lengthy into it, I've met people like that, bro, and
Yeah.
they really feel that you are encroaching into their environment. See, that's the thing. I look at things from a psychological perspective always. I think and I think it's fruitful to do that. It's healthy to do that. Uh,
Right.
but when you meet people that who are incorrigible, they are their mind is reprobate, meaning that they don't believe that anything they do wrong is even wrong.
Correct.
It's kind of like what people today call Karens or Karenism or whatever,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
People believe they're right about everything and they could be wrong as I don't know what, two left shoes. But it's the same thing. The people who do believe that way, they lack love or they only love certain things. And if you pay attention, they'll show more love to an animal than you.
Yes.
This is facts. This is a psychological fact that they will. I don't care. They'll get a dog from the pound and show it more love than you, based on
Yeah.
everything you told me. Show you more love and the dog more love and respect than they show the person. But that's what I mean. A person trapped. I mean, there's going to be a time that I'm a true believer that every knee go bow and every tongue go confess that
True.
is Lord. And in doing so, man, there's a lot of forgiveness that will have to come. You know, uh, but then again, some people just not ready to forgive until they're on their deathbed. You ever realize that?
Yeah, some people do.
Yeah. But
Some
true
people
story,
do.
check this out. I was working for a big company here when I first got out, came to this area. And it's a guy that I met, I was working with, older white guy. And he was a bigot. I gotta call it for what it is. But he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't the one that was, he was cool to work with, but he let you know how he really felt about things. He let you know that he didn't think highly of other races in a subliminal way. You know what I mean? You could pick up on things like you could tell him somebody trying to throw subliminal shots at you or something like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They're experts at doing that. These type of people, right? They're expert at throwing subliminals, not necessarily directing your face. It can get that way if it get to, but normally it's subliminals and it's little undercuts.
Right.
And so he would do that, right? And I picked up on it, but he knew that I was he kind of gave me a little levity, but I was kind of holding my peace at that place, anyways. But he got sick. He got real sick, man. He was in the hospital. I've been working with him for a couple of maybe about 2 years or so, two maybe 3 years at the time. And so I knew his character, he knew mine. Mine was always, I'm coming here to work and be polite and leave. That was my character. That's, my character. So when he got sick, but he knew that at the time this is when I really was coming to God and letting God in my life, man, for real. And I'm trying to fix me. So like I said, some of the characteristics I had to fight that in me. So the guy got sick, and I got a call that he was in the hospital. I was off that day, but I got a call because, we on the shift, we all became like a little family, but we knew how people were. So he called and I said, "Oh, is he in the hospital?" I wasn't scheduled to go back until a couple of days. And then I finally heard he was still in the hospital, that he was doing bad. And I said, "What? He doing that bad?" I didn't know it was that serious. But he was a heavy, heavy smoker, bro. He heavy. I said, what hospital he's at? I got the hospital name and I got the number. And I called him. Now this is what he said to me. Me and him didn't have much because he knew how I felt about the subliminals he was throwing. He said, I called the room. I said, I got the room. I asked for him. I got the room number, got the room in the phone in the room, and he picked it up. I said, "Man, how you doing, brother?" Just like I'm saying, "How you doing, brother?" He said, "Brother, I knew you was gonna be the one to call." That's exactly what he told me. He said, "I know you was gonna be the one to call." I said, "Well, yeah, man. I was just checking in on you, brother. Let you know, I'm praying for you, man. Praying for recovery." I told his wife that she was with him, and that was a remarkable thing to him because he's on his deathbed.
Yeah.
And that bigotry he had, he was very, man. He was so sorry about that. But it took until you on your deathbed, to me. But at the same time, it was still a necessary thing. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget it because people who you think that you would never find yourself submitting to.
Right.
This is the lesson. People who you think are the worst could be the worst. Bigotry is a rough thing. Feel you experiencing that. Sometimes you're going to find yourself providing a service for them in one way or another that you don't even recognize that you can provide. So by me calling him and telling him I'm praying for him, that was a service. He said, "I knew you was going to be the one to call," because he burned bridges with a lot of people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There was a few people that still was connected to him, but he burned bridges with a lot of black people, to be honest. And it wasn't no submitting, it wasn't no being weak or none of that. It was being the higher person. It was being the higher person. And so when I called, he died, though. He did die about maybe a couple days after that. No, a day or two. The day after, I think he died.
Okay.
He got the opportunity to tell. He was trying to tell me, "Man, brother," because I always say brother to everybody, So he said, "Yeah, brother, man, I knew you was gonna be the one to call." So yeah, man, I'm on here praying for you, brother. That you're able to get through for a speedy recovery and everything. It was just genuine. So I had to forget about everything else in order to do that. And it wasn't just for him; it was for me too. See, this is why humanity always wins, is what I'm getting to. Humanity is going to always win before bigotry does. When you let people just spill bigotry to you without showing some form of humanity, then, you just become angry upset, and you lose your peace. I'm not letting nobody take my peace. No, nobody take my peace. You know, and so like the situation with you and your wife. I mean, don't let that take. Cherish that.
Mhm.
Tell everybody the
Absolutely.
same thing. This is for everybody. Don't let people come in your life and destroy your life because of their bigotry, because of their misunderstanding of love, and for their lack of ability to love. Because what you told me, you gave me a little dossier of everything that he's done.
Yeah.
That seemed too lovable. You know, it's a lot of forgiveness he got to go back. He probably need to go back and do before he can find peace. But it's not about his peace; it's about yours.
Yeah, that's correct.
Because when I called him, I'm like, man, I'm like, why are they calling me about it? Because I mean, I'm cordial at work with him, but I know what kind of person this is. Why y'all calling me about it? Okay. And then they called me again. That's when I got the information and called him. And it was almost like he was waiting on my call, bro. You know, now that might not mean nothing to nobody else. But if y'all believe in spaceships, aliens, and everything else, you better know that the power of God is real. You better know. You better know that it is real. Every time you tell me about a daggone spaceship that you believe in more than God, something that went wrong in this world. So, but yeah, moving on, but let's move on. Unless you want to end up
Okay.
on that before we move on to the hitman.
Whatever you want to do. I'm cool. If you got any more questions, about that subject, because I lived it.
Yeah, well,
I
you
lived it.
tell me because I don't have questions. I mean, you got the platform, you got the flow, brother. Go for it. You gonna help me with
I'm
this?
trying to think before we go to the next subject. Was there anything else that really stuck out? Um, oh, I was gonna mention that I always seem to have run into that because I dated a lot of young ladies that were Caucasian, so I I had a lot of run-ins with uh, angry parents.
Yeah, yeah,
That tend to happen, and so I tell people, I'm like, look, if you're gonna date, just be prepared.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Because yeah, people are gonna come at you. Sometimes it's their family, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's other people, other things like that. And I encountered that a lot.
yeah,
Um, and no regrets, it's all fine,
yeah.
because like,
To cross that bridge, as far as okay, I'm going into another environment of people who want to keep their traditional environment a certain way. But love,
right,
but love, because we love each other, it should supersede that. And the conflict is that because people don't understand love, they only understand what they want. I want my
right.
family to be all white. I want my family to be all black. When you say that, that's what you want, but your children may not want that.
Yeah,
So and who are you to tell an adult when they're grown now who they should love? You see, love is let's talk between man and woman now. We talking about man and woman because I don't want nobody. Don't get no bright ideas out there, y'all. No, no, hell no, no. Don't get no ideas. I'm not talking about nothing but man and woman. So when you loving each other though, and by me being in the military, I've seen people married all kind of ways. You know, or we go to other countries and bring the people back to this country, marry them, bring them here from the Philippines, from Germany, from all over the doggone place, bro. I mean, they bring them back all over. So people got to get over that because it causes division and it also hurts people and it hurts the family relationships, and it messes with your peace. So, but you, brother, you've been through it though. But you've been through. You a soldier.
yeah. I was geared.
Put my combat patch on. Get you a
I
combat
was
patch,
geared
man.
for it, buddy. I
But
was geared for it.
yeah.
Oh yeah, since kindergarten actually. Kindergarten, I saw my first. I remember this girl. Name was Catherine. She was redhead,
Oh,
red, red,
you
red
red.
hair,
I got you like the
red
red
and blonde,
boy. No, Dana
and
told
I
me about the red is.
and I fell for her right there in kindergarten. I knew that that was the girl for me, and she offered me some of her raisins, and and I just knew that was it. And we hung out a lot until she moved to the Bay Area.
Not kindergarten. You was a Mac in kindergarten?
Yeah, I got pictures. You'll see us hanging out at
Like,
Disneyland and doing
buddy
different
was hey,
things.
Drew was killing them. You ain't giving them a chance. I mean, bro, they fresh out of diapers.
Yeah,
Fresh out of diapers. You was fresh out of diapers and you was still just getting to it.
yeah, that's what it was. That's really what
Yeah.
I knew from that point on. And my dad knew because he could see a pattern.
Yeah.
And
But
so
look,
my dad was like,
did
he
you have
was just like,
let me ask a question so you can continue. Did you have
yeah,
was it an all white school you went to?
a majority of it was.
Jordy?
At the time, like back then in kindergarten, I was in a private school called Grace Brethren. It was a Christian private school. So it had everybody there, to be honest, but it was a, gated school and stuff like that. So it was very well protected and
Okay,
things like that.
good.
So it was nice. Grace Brethren was a nice little place in Long Beach, California.
Yeah, did
There
you
you go.
have any yeah, did you have any black teachers?
No.
Okay. Okay. And that's I only asked that because I've had both,
Mm-hmm.
black and white, especially college, you go through, it's different. But I'm saying coming up, it was predominantly black teachers, but we had a couple of white teachers in there. So I learned the styles. I think I learned some people's styles, you know, based off they coming from. Now the white teachers that was there, well, it was very few now. They didn't live in the environment. They were
Mm-hmm.
coming from another environment to come teach there. But so they brought their influence and their culture to the school. See what I'm saying? I was able to pick up on
Right.
that a little bit. So I was able to expect. So I know exactly how you see a lot of black people can say they can talk kind of like what they think white people talk like, most of them, right? And
Right.
the thing on the phone thing, back in the days, you could tell almost
Uh-huh.
because you only in your own environment. You think
Right.
oh, you sound like a white dude. Oh, I'm black. Oh, sound like a what do you mean sound like a white dude? Or what do you mean sound like a black dude? You know what I'm saying? A
Uh-huh.
white person can talk like that too if they did. A black person can talk like a white person if they wanted to. Comedians do it all the time.
Absolutely.
So well, that don't really mean a whole lot. But I was just curious, man, because many times a lot of people don't get out of their environment to have been taught by other people. And I think teaching is something very important because even though the teachers were black, the law enforcement were white, the
Mm-hmm.
doctors were white, the lawyers were white, you know. And we didn't have a lot of interaction with them unless it was negative. You know what I mean?
Right.
It kind of make
No.
you have an opinion about all of them. Not the right, but it make you kind of have an opinion about one bad cop, all of them bad.
Right.
So
Yeah, and that's the negative way of approaching it, and the necessary. I would say that's the wrong way of approaching things.
yeah,
That's just that with that individual,
right.
and that's just dealing with that
But that's
person.
a knee jerk reaction, and then if you get someone agitating it, that become almost your truth with no experience.
Yeah.
It never happened to you. This is what I mean about being emotionally connected to an idea, even though there's no evidence supporting the idea. No real empirical evidence. Not no what you. I hate when people try to throw statistics. They don't know where you're not quoting where the stat come from. I don't know where you got that from. You know, if that statistic, this is with me. This is when you're in psychology, you quoting statistics from entities that are reputable,
Right.
right? Not something you saw on the internet, right? If you don't quote that entity where you got that source from, you're just talking, and most people go brush right past it as though it's truth because there's
No,
all
absolutely.
faulty statistics that when once re-examined, they had to change the opinion on it. I mean, that's a whole lengthy thing. But when people say, "Oh, statistically, this," and back in 1930, you weren't there, bro.
Yeah.
You can't. How you gonna deal with 1756? You can't deal with 2023 right now. Yeah,
No, absolutely.
you're not showing to be effective. Let's move on. Let's move on.
I was gonna say though, my mom had this friend of hers that was like, she's like, if you got married, do you think your wife would be black? And I looked at her right in her face and I said, probably not. I'm willing to guarantee you, no.
Yes.
Yes, I did. Told her because she was so built on that stuff.
Would
I
that
had to say it.
would that also apply to Stacey Dash? Uh-oh, you stuck. Oh, wait, what? Oh, Drew.
Stacey
We got it.
Dash.
We got it. We got
Stacey Dash. Yeah, I like Stacey Dash. She's
Uh-oh, we
pretty
got
cute.
him. We got him. Yeah.
Cute.